What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with another college football preview video for the 2020 season. Again, don't know if we're going to get a season, but just in case, I'm still going to be working on these. And up today, we got the Oklahoma Sooners. All right, the Oklahoma Sooners are coming off a great season, if you want to call it that. Went 11-1 in the regular season, an embarrassing loss October 26th at Kansas State. That was on the road. And it was a 7-point game. No defense showed up whatsoever. They made the playoffs by winning the Big Ten championship game against Baylor, who they beat by a field goal. I don't remember if they beat them by a field goal, by kicking a field goal late in the year. And then you look at it 3 weeks later, they both end up in Arlington, Texas. The two teams of the Big 12 at the top. Baylor getting so close to beating Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. But Oklahoma prevailed, won it in overtime 30-23. Of course, winning the Big 12, and you look at the other teams, Alabama, who lost the Iron Bowl. Again, I did a Auburn and Alabama preview video. Mentioned the Iron Bowl. Alabama lost it, went 10-2. I think when you look at it, which, by the way, the Kansas State loss for Oklahoma was not a great loss. Do not even try to consider that. I think that Oklahoma got lucky getting in. I understand what Jalen Hurts did with the team going forward after that loss. Responded really well with it. I like that. But I don't know. I guess when you have a loss like that, if you're Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley and what he's done, getting you in the playoffs, 3 or 4 times already, you look at it 3 straight years now, counting last year. They got to do better than that. Come on. And I'm not taking anything away from Jalen Hurts. He could have done better in that game, I think. I think the entire team, could have done better. But anyway, we're not here to talk necessarily about last season. We're here to talk about this season. So you look at it, though, and, they scored about 40 points on average a game. The highest they scored overall was 70. That was week 2 against South Dakota. Cupcake team, no big deal. They won by 7 against Texas. And again, I mentioned they made the playoffs, lost in the Peach Bowl to the eventual LSU Tigers, who would be the eventual champions. Which is not a bad loss. 63-28, a blowout, if you want to call it that. How many points is that? Let's look. 63 minus 28, that's 35 points. So I guess it's a blowout. But, you scored 4 touchdowns, which is great and all, but the fact you couldn't keep up in that game, and I'm not taking anything away from LSU, but Oklahoma could have done better. So with that being said, let's get into the 2020 season for the Oklahoma Sooners. All right, open up with a couple cupcakes. No offense to Tennessee, who they get week 2. This is a home game for Oklahoma in a home-and-home series. You look ahead to 2021, I believe, and they go on the road. Or I guess not. Maybe it's one of those home-and-home series that's like the other ones in a couple years or so. I don't know. Someone let me know down below. Maybe it's not a home and home, but they do get Tennessee in Norman this upcoming season. I did a Tennessee Volunteers preview video. I think that was the 3rd one I did for team previews. And obviously you guys remember I picked Oklahoma to win this game because it's in Norman. If this were in Neyland, I probably would still pick Oklahoma to win it. But we'll come back to that. So open up with Missouri State, a cupcake. Then you get Tennessee at home. Everyone gets one bye week, and my oh my, does it come week 3 for Oklahoma? Super early in the season. You're not even a third of the way in. I guess 3 games is a quarter. Right? That's on September 19th. On the road at Army. Baylor comes to town this year. You get Texas, of course, neutral field in Dallas in the, what do they call it, Red River Rivalry or whatever. On the road at Iowa State. Come back home, Oklahoma State, your in-state rival. At TCU, at West Virginia, Kansas State, Kansas Jayhawks. Both of those 2 games with Kansas State and Kansas at home, and then at Texas Tech. So I would say it's a pretty decent schedule and favorable. Spencer Rattler, 5-star recruit, I think was a freshman last year. Everyone was pretty high on that kid and said that he could possibly even try to beat Jalen Hurts out for the starting job when Jalen transferred from Alabama. There was some talk about whether or not Jalen would even win the starting job. He's still got to earn it, and Spencer Rattler's a really good recruit. What can he do? But with Jalen Hurts now entering the draft and playing in the pros next year or in the next few years, we'll see how all that works out. You look at it, you got to look at the roster, don't you? Let me double check their roster and see, because they're losing quite a bit. They lose a defensive tackle in Neville. I don't know what his name is. Gallimore. His defensive tackle. People are pretty high on him. Believe it or not, yes, people are high on a Big 12 defensive tackle. Who would have thought? But seriously though, they do lose a lot, but they also bring in a lot. When you look at it, went 12-2 overall last year. You lose Jalen Hurts. I guess you also lose this guy in Connor McGinnis, who's also a senior. I'm not sure if he was a transfer or whatever. You got this guy in Tanner Mordecai. Again, I mentioned Spencer Rattler. The 2 guys that I've heard about mostly are Tanner Mordecai, who was a sophomore last year. I guess he'll be a junior this year. And, of course, Spencer Rattler. One of those 2 guys I would assume would be the quarterback. I think those are going to be the 2 guys that Lincoln Riley's going to look at and try to say, all right, mostly you 2. But again, I think that, and I think I said this in the Bama preview video when I was talking about Mac Jones and Bryce Young. A guy like Paul Tyson, if he's good enough, if Nick Saban looks at Paul Tyson at Alabama and says, this is the guy I want to be our quarterback, he could win the starting job, right? A guy named, someone named like Braxton Barker, whatever. These guys on the roster that you wonder who the heck they are, if the coach thinks that they are ready to play, they could win. It could be a nobody guy winning the starting job, right? So this guy in Connor McGinnis, if he wanted to compete, he's a senior, but take this junior guy, Cole Atkinson. I doubt he went pro or whatever. If he's on the team next year as a senior, he could win the starting job if he competes and plays well, So anything could happen. It's all up to the coaches. We will see what that looks like. I'm really high on, I think the 2 guys to look out for, though, are Tanner Mordecai and Spencer Rattler. I don't know of anybody planning on transferring to Oklahoma this year, so for the 4th straight year, hold on, let me rephrase that. Because you had Baker Mayfield win the Heisman, Kyler Murray win the Heisman, Jalen Hurts finished at least second in the Heisman race behind Joe Burrow. So that's 3 straight transfer quarterbacks to start at Oklahoma, pretty much in their senior year. I don't think we'll see a transfer QB this year for Oklahoma, but we will see what happens. And can Lincoln Riley, let's say if it is Spencer Rattler, how will he handle developing such a young freshman quarterback? And again, he's a 5-star athlete. He is legit. He's a dual threat. I've seen his highlights. He's awesome. Very good in the pocket, very good in the run game and the passing game, Spencer Rattler. And again, he'll be a sophomore this year, but how can Lincoln Riley develop a young guy with very little college experience? This is not a transfer. This is a guy you signed. How can he handle that? That's going to be interesting to see. But I think they lose a lot, but they bring so much back. And I think that Oklahoma is always going to have a good offense, and I think Lincoln Riley's done such a great job there so far. So again, you look at this schedule. If this Tennessee game, let's go back there. So, okay, let's start over from the top. Missouri State, no problem, cupcake, right? That's at home. Even if it was on the road, that's winnable. Tennessee comes to Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma to win that game in Norman. I think the Tennessee Volunteers could compete. This is an early test for Jeremy Pruitt. We will see what happens, but I expect Oklahoma to win that game. Then you get a really early bye week. That's tough. Week 3 and you're already on a bye. At Army, Baylor, the neutral site game with Texas and the Red River rivalry, at Iowa State, Oklahoma State, at TCU, at West Virginia, Kansas State, then Kansas, then at Texas Tech. Army is a team that's unpredictable and can normally upset some people. Pull off an upset at home, I think. I do like Oklahoma there. I like Oklahoma at home, right? So you could expect them to win all of their home games. I don't know. I really don't know. I could see, obviously they'll be good enough to probably make the Big 12 championship. They'll probably go 12-0. They could. Or they could go 11-1. I think Oklahoma's the best in the Big 12 right now. Kansas State's the team that they lost to last year. That was on the road. I don't think they're going to lose that game in Norman. They're not losing to Kansas. At Texas Tech last week of the season, maybe, I don't know. You guys let me know down below in the comments, though. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to call it 12-0. I really don't see anyone slipping them up, really, other than the Tennessee game. So it could be 11-1. Maybe they do lose 2 games. Maybe they lose on the road at TCU. I really don't know what to make of this schedule. I'll be honest, I don't follow the Big 12 a whole lot. I do watch a couple games here or there. But the Big 12 is just so hard to figure out first off, okay? They do also have a lot of bad teams. No defense whatsoever. So, and with Oklahoma, I guess that's the thing. Their defense was somewhat good last year. I would expect the same here again this year, but come on, it's not going to be elite for Oklahoma. So when you look at that and the fact that they're explosive on offense, they can always find a way to win a game. I could see a 12-0 season. But I'll play it safe with 11-1. Maybe they do lose a game. I really don't know. But Oklahoma fans, you guys let me know down below in the comments. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why you are going to go 12-0, why you are going to win the championship, or blah, 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 whatever it is. Just let me know in the comments below. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's it for me. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Till then, Ballard Sports Media, checking out.